Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is CrazyPie. If you can tell from the audio, we are here back in the basement. Alright, we have finally switched my setup. If you guys want to see another setup tour, comment down below, because I'd actually really consider doing one of those, and I think it would be kind of sick. And I think we could potentially see it coming. I think we could possibly get a setup tour popping off really soon here. But today we're talking about the best settings for Apex Legends Season 3. And without further ado, let's get into the best settings. So with Season 3, we have actually seen some very new settings. We've seen a lot of new stuff that we can actually, use. And the settings are pretty cool. We have the gameplay settings, the controller settings, video settings, audio settings, and all of that. The main thing that you guys need to know is the button layout as well as advanced look controls. So without further ado, let us get into that. So getting into the gameplay style of settings, this stuff doesn't matter whatsoever, alright? It really doesn't. I mean, I've never tried menu map rotation on. I'm going to try that just because I've never seen it on. This stuff, there's no point of going over it. If you want to, you can go ahead and look at what I'm using here and copy it. It really doesn't matter at all. I know streamers like Shroud have actually commented on when you're doing the damage numbers and the crosshair damage, feedback. These two I'd recommend leaving on with the shield icon so you can see which shield they have, and it's easier to tell out to your team what shield they have. And then the damage numbers, I just leave it on both just because you want to get the best of both worlds. But the big thing here is going to be in the controller settings. So I use advanced look controls, as you can see down here. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you can use really logistically, you can use these sensitivities if you really wanted to. I like advanced look controls just because you can fine tune each of your movements for Apex. But if we go up here to the button layout, I use customized just so I can say that I use customized. Logically, I really just use the default layout. But if you really want to use the best layout for a default layout, if you don't have an advanced controller like I do with paddles in the back, what you can actually do, and what I did for the longest amount of time, switch to evolve, use your middle finger on L2, alright, and then put your index finger on L1, because evolve will make it so L1 is jump. And if you have both of your fingers on these two back buttons, it might feel weird at first, but you use your index finger to jump and then you use your middle finger to aim, it feels really weird, but once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. And it prevents you from having to take your thumb off of the stick when you're in gunfights to use jump. And you can use jump shot, as well as, if you use this, you can use crouch shot and sliding. You can use them both together as well in gunfights and make it a very easy time, especially in Season 3. Because, for me, I'm a Russian player, so you don't want to, especially in Season 3, there's so many long range engagements, so instead of, sitting back there and fighting it from a long range, this will make it so you can rush a lot easier because you are able to use the jump shot instead of having to take your thumb off the stick. Theoretically, I could just use default, but I just put it on custom just so when someone asks, I say I use custom button layouts. But really, we're out here ripping default, boys. Now, as for the advanced look controls, what are we rocking here? You obviously want to turn them on, alright? I use 0 dead zone all the way at the very bottom and outer threshold all the way at the very bottom as well. This basically makes it your dead zone. So it's basically, as it says, it's a zone on your stick that's practically dead. It's not going to move if you move it in that radius. So if I move this over, as you guys can see, that little circle, it keeps getting bigger. So that circle, if I move my thumbstick in that range of the circle on my controller, it's dead. Right? It's not going to move. It's completely dead. And the input is not going to be as great as if you move it all the way down. You have a very precise accuracy that you can now use. This helps you, basically build raw aim, and it's more in real time, and it's more of logic, alright? It's more in physics involved in this because you don't have a dead zone on your controller. It's just basic, and it's raw, and it's complete input from what you're using in the real world to the game, alright? So it's not tampered with, it's not anything, it's just completely raw aim, and it really does help in this game a lot. As if for your response curve, everything, I just leave this at real, or at the regular. Target composition, if you really want to get better at this game, turn this off for a couple weeks. Get your aim good and then come back to it. The reason being is this is aim assist, alright? Aim assist, if you can play the game and do good without aim assist, by the time you turn it back on, you will be a way better player, and you'll literally just have the best raw aim in any video game. Like, if you can have good raw aim, you can bet your bottom dollar that you'll have great aim with aim assist. So leave it off, play with it for a little bit, and then turn it back on. I usually do this about every month just to help build raw aim, and it definitely does help out a lot, especially in Season 3. Now, as for your yaw and your pitch speed, these are basically your X and Y sensitivity. This one is going to be how quickly you turn left or right. I leave this really just, you can copy mine if you really want to, but because you have a 0 dead zone, you want to make this custom to however you feel fit with your controller. Definitely I would recommend hopping into an actual training lobby, which I'm going to do actually now just to demonstrate for you guys here. Now for your turning extra and extra pitch for the yaw and pitch, this basically means how fast it'll turn when it's at maximum. So if I have my stick all the way over and I'm spinning, it can spin theoretically faster if you're at maximum speed. So if you have it at, I just leave it at default because it doesn't really matter and I don't really want to mess with it too much. But if you have it at low, you will pretty much stay the same when you spin the whole time, and it won't really change that much, which is pretty good, I find, and it doesn't really matter too much. I just leave it at regular. The two that really matter here are going to be your pitch speed and your yaw speed, alright? Same thing with these two bottom ones here, the ramp up time delay and the ramp up time. These two basically make it so that, you delay the time it takes to put in the extra pitch or yaw. So, if you're at maximum, it'll take a little bit longer for this to go. I leave this at 0 just because you don't really want a delay for that at all. And then this one is just how long it takes for it to reach the full strength. So I just leave that at the recommended one just because it doesn't really matter as well. Like I said, the two that really matter are right here and right here. As for the ADS pitch and yaw, I leave my ADS yaw speed at the regular one, and then I leave my ADS pitch speed one lower just because that's how I like it. Like I said, if you guys want to practice this, hop into the training mode, pick up a gun, and then practice with, whichever you see fit, because this is theoretically which you're going to use when you're in game. So make sure you have it perfect to what you use when you're aiming down a sight with a gun. So make sure you have that properly. And then same thing with the extra yaw and the extra pitch. I leave these at the regular one, and then I turn down my ramp up time all the way because you don't want it to ramp up when you're ADSing, because that can throw you off a lot. Trust me, it really does. Leave that all the way down, please. Please do it. It's really annoying when you have it taking time to ramp up. If you want to build a better aim and just have a solid aim and not have anything messing with your aim, leave it all the way down. Alright, trust me, leave it all the way down. It'll help you a lot more, because if you have it all the way up, then you can, it'll be different ADS sensitivity technically when you're ADSing. So leave that all the way down. Trust me, it'll help you build a better raw input of an aim. Now, same thing with the delay. It's the same thing up here. You don't really want a delay at all, so I just leave that all the way down, and that is that. Now, in terms of brightness and everything, I have my brightness, honestly, it's all the way up just because of the event. Usually I leave it around here, but for Shadowfall, I turn it all the way up. So usually I have it around here. It doesn't really matter if the brightness is too much. For your field of view, I leave it at 100. 70 is way too small. 110 is a little bit too big in my opinion to try and fight people from a range. But 100 is fine for me. And then you want to have your sprint shake at minimum. There was a test done for this, and if you do run, it can shake your screen. So make sure you have it at minimum so you don't see too much of a sprint shake. Same thing here for the volume. I have these sound effects all the way up, the dialogue down, music down, and then the lobby music, I just have that up just because I like to hear it. Really, ultimately you want to have this at your highest one so you can hear the sound effects like gunshots, grenades, etc. Dialogue doesn't really matter too much. It really does help if you want to hear your callouts. I did turn on subtitles, I believe, so that you can see it in the bottom instead of having to listen out for it. But dialogue, make sure you have that. Music isn't really necessary. I just like to listen to it just to listen to it. As long as you have these two at an even space so that you can still hear the sound effects, but you can also hear the dialogue if there is an enemy team coming, if you're getting third partied, or if there is a bombardment missile or anything, have that up there so you can still hear it. But yeah, man, those are my settings for this game mode, for this game. Comment down below if you agree with my settings, or if you have anything that you would change. Let's start a discussion down there because it would be pretty sick. And I really do actually like enjoying and partaking in discussions. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy, like I said, everything, subscribe, everything. We are streaming hopefully by now, and I'll see you guys later for the next video.
It's just fired.